If you're feeling really tired, and I don't mean like the feeling like you need to go to bed type tired, and I don't mean that feeling as if you want to lay on the couch type tired, I mean like the tired feeling that you get where there's just no batteries, where you feel like you're a remote control car that's just not functioning on full charge, then I want to talk to you, because this type of fatigue is something that's very closely associated with issues of cortical function within the brain and is classic of conditions such as chronic fatigue syndrome or ME. Hey, I'm Trevor Jacuti, and today this video is all about brain function and a very neurological event or a neurobiochemical event really called temporal summation. And temporal summation is a really important effect within the human brain. If you are liking our videos, before we go any further though, if you are liking our videos, please like our videos, subscribe, just press the like button. It's not hard to do and it'll help us get all this information out to people who really need it the most. Alright, so let's talk about temporal summation, because it's something that isn't well understood and it's something that's not often discussed because it doesn't seem to have much clinical relevance until you understand it. So what temporal summation basically is every nerve has a threshold point. So we need to understand that nerves are electrical and we really are one massive electrical circuit, and you know, I'm really just nothing more than a biological electrician, I like to call it. So when we start looking at temporal summation, the whole theory behind temporal summation is you need to get enough stimulation to a nerve to get enough of a spark to start its motor, to get the engine running. You know, it's like when you jump in your car and you turn the key, or you press the button nowadays, and you hold it there until you get the starter motor, it kicks in, it goes boom, and then it takes off. We need to get enough of that momentum to fire off that process, and this is the same thing that actually happens in the brain in nerves. So we have a threshold point, and this threshold point is a point where we get enough momentum where the nerve will actually fire off and send the signal down our nerve pathway. But to get to that level, what needs to happen is that various signals from various nerves need to come in at the same time and stimulate it. So let's use this example here. So this nerve is sending its signal in, this nerve is sending a signal in, and this one is sending a signal in all at the same time, and they all hit this spot here roughly at the same time. When that occurs, we get nerve 1, nerve 2, nerve 3. When that third one hits now, we cross that threshold point and bang, off we go. We have the stimulation that we need to fire off that nerve. But what would happen? What would happen if we come back to here and now we have our nerve, this one here, let's say its signal was a little bit delayed compared to the other two nerves. Just didn't go through at the same speed. Now what we end up in this pathway is nerve 1, nerve 2, nerve 3, and there's not enough stimulation to hit threshold. And the problem with that when we don't hit threshold then is that this nerve then doesn't fire off, and wherever this nerve goes to doesn't get the stimulation that it requires. And this is what we call temporal discoherence. We're not getting that summation of different fibers at the same time, and the result is that we don't get the firing at the same time. And this is a really key issue for a lot of people, simply because we end up with areas of the brain stimulated and areas of the brain unstimulated or not stimulating as much. So if we were to look top down at a brain, excuse my drawing here, so this is looking down, your eyes are up here. If we were to have this side of the brain stimulated and this side just normal, then all these nerve endings coming, all these nerves coming from this side would travel at a quicker rate than nerves coming from this side. And that potentially can lead to this temporal summation problem. Okay, we're being very generalized here to give you a bit of an example. And there's a ton of different things that can result in those kind of situation where we have these abnormal level stimulation. By and large, the biggest one that we see that creates this unilateral thing from a life perspective is problems with our immune responses. So when we look at the human brain, one side is stimulated by what we call our T helper cells, our Th1 cells, the other by our Th2 cells. So if we look from the top down and we say this is the left side, this is the right side, the left side is stimulated by Th1, right side is stimulated by Th2. And these parts of our immune system do slightly different things. And this is where we start having bigger issues in conditions such as chronic fatigue syndrome, is because Th1 and Th2 and potentially can be stimulated by things like food sensitivities and infection is another one, but also little physiological shifts as well. So for instance, we know that certain hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, will throw out that balance. We know stress tends to elevate our Th2 responses. And these type of things, when they become chronic, can lead to chronic changes within the brain itself. And we're not talking about pathology, we're talking about functional changes in the brain that can potentially alter the firing sequences and potentially stop that electric charge from the brain to the body being as vibrant and youthful as it should be all the time. And the result of that for many people is that feeling of no batteries. So what we need to do about this is a very complicated situation, which is why chronic conditions such as CFS and the like are so hard to deal with, because we really need to re-establish healthy brain function from a physiological perspective, from a neurological perspective, and from a stimulatory perspective in order to bring the system back to normal. And that might mean treating the immune system, treating infection, reducing stress, balancing hormones, improving blood supply, improving blood sugar handling. It's sometimes a very complex situation to try and manage and to try and sort out. But if we do have a good quality structured program that walks through each of those areas of imbalance, it is potentially possible to re-establish brain function, get things back to normal, and try and get our temporal summation back correct and stop this discoherence effect and get your batteries back. Anyway, guys, it's a brief, very, very brief and very generalized understanding of how temporal summation can present clinically. There are plenty of other ways that this can happen as well. If you do have any questions with that, please just post them down or feel free to send me a personal message. Always happy to help in any way, shape or form that I can. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next vid. Bye for now.